afternoon and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. Amnesty International on Wednesday claimed the Nigeria's top brass were warned of brutal Boko Haram attacks on the northeast towns of Baga and Monguno but failed to take action. The January 3rd onslaught against Baga is feared to have killed hundreds, if not more, and destroyed thousands of homes, while the takeover of Monguno last weekend was seen as a major setback for the security forces. Amnesty International said it received information from senior military officers and other sources indicating that defense officials were told about Boko Haram's plans to attack both towns but did not act on requests to send reinforcement. Amnesty added that troops in the town in the extreme north of Borno State reported a build-up of insurgent fighters in the area before the attack.
The highest levels of the Nigerian military knew about the attack on Baga up to 2 months in advance and did not take adequate measures to protect civilians. We've seen Boko Haram really go from strength to strength in the last year. In 2014 alone, they killed more than 4,000 civilians, and we believe they've taken control of over 20 major towns in the region. So more needs to be done to protect civilians, whether that's by changes to the way the military operates or by ensuring that their safe passage out of areas that are threatened by Boko Haram. The government must be doing more. We believe that there are challenges in capacity of the Nigerian military which they are trying to address. The military has been seeking international cooperation to strengthen their army through training, through intelligence sharing. So some measures are being taken, but the pattern that's emerged is that immediate steps aren't being taken to protect civilians.
Newly posted Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2 Command, Joseph Mbu, has warned troublemakers to steer clear his way. Mbu, while taking over from the departing AIG in charge of the zone, Abubakar Manko, says he will review the number of people moving around the zone with security men with a view to ensuring that only those who have the right to security around them get same.
You must be disciplined. You must be ready to do your job, and there must be no lawlessness. We must be organized. If you are a civilian, obey the law. If you don't obey the law, whatever your status will bring you down and will take you to court. And then the misuse of my policemen, I will say no. If you're not entitled to policeman, if you have, I will draw. And if you insult my policeman, I will not take it lightly with you. I will prosecute you.
The National Peace Committee, headed by the former head of state, Abdulsalami Abubakar, is concerned about the trend of hate speech and political violence in spite of Abuja Accord on Non-Violence. The committee, which was set up in the aftermath of the accord, has consequently slated a meeting for next week to take a stand on the matter. Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Matthew Kuka, disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja. Pius Samuel has the rest of the story.
The National Peace Committee is a fallout of the Abuja Accord signed by all political parties and their presidential candidates. The panel of eminent Nigerians is to, among others, monitor the implementation of the accord. But few days after it was signed, the committee members are not impressed with the political class. Bishop Matthew Kuka is one of the 16 members of the committee.
We pledge to refrain from campaigns that will involve religious, ethnic, and tribal profiling, both by ourselves and by all agents acting in our names. To refrain from making or causing to make in our names and that of our party any public statements, pronouncements, declarations or speeches that have the capacity to incite any form of violence before, during, and after the elections.
The committee members are particularly worried over inflammatory comments by politicians. Former Foreign Affairs Minister Bolaji Akinyemi says the panel will monitor compliance by all parties.
The peace accord was signed, I suppose, 14th January, and this committee has arisen out of that. This committee could not have been set up. This particular committee However, that is not to say that attempts at talking and influencing political activities by political stakeholders had not been going on before even the peace accord.
The Inter-Party Advisory Council also reiterated its commitment to ensuring a violence-free polls. It reaffirmed its readiness to take legal action against any party found to have breached the Abuja Accord.
What have we done so far was so enormous to have brought us to this particular point. Not only do we synergize with INEC, the demand by the political party to have constant meetings with INEC has yielded a lot of results. We usually have quarterly meetings before. In fact, before INEC doesn't even listen to us. But recently they started listening to us. We have meetings with them. We now understand their own pain and they understand ours. And then we come to a meeting point.
The committee held an inaugural meeting last Sunday, but is now set for a larger meeting next week to take a look at the attitude of politicians and supporters to the non-violence agreement. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Lagos governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Jimmy Agbaje, and his All Progressives Congress counterpart, Akinwumi Ambode, have pledged to ensure that the forthcoming general elections will be peaceful in the state. They spoke in Lagos after signing a peace accord by all political parties at the state police headquarters. Kazim Kasali's report is presented from our studio.
This warm embrace and the throwing on banters by the two major gladiators in the Lagos State governorship race, Akinwumi Ambode and Jimmy Agbaje, after signing of the peace accord, symbolizes the charge by the State Commissioner Kayode Aderanti for all parties to work towards a free, fair and non-violence elections.
For us to assure you that we're going to give you 100% security without bringing you on board, that is just, to me, far from being the ideal thing. And knowing fully that Lagos is the business epicenter of this country, we've got to do everything together and ensure that we have an election that is devoid of violence, election that is devoid of intimidation, election that will be generally acceptable.
The resident electoral commissioner in Lagos, Akin Rebi, also assured all the parties that all measures have been put in place to ensure successful polls.
The ballot papers will be color-coded. In elections that we've had since 2011, in governorship elections, in Kogi, in Bayelsa, in Cross River, in Kebbi, in Adamawa, in Ondo, in Ekiti, as well as in Osun, the ballot papers are color-coded. There will be a specific color for a particular local government in the states. So if you print your own papers, you do not know the colors you're going to use, and if you want to put them onto the field, you don't know which color belongs to a particular local government, again, to protect the integrity of the electoral process.
Speaking after signing the peace document, Agbaje and Ambode say they are optimistic that the elections will be violence-free.
I've been an advocate of violence-free elections. When you want to serve the people, you don't need to be violent about it if it's service to the benefit of the people. So for me, it's something that I wholeheartedly support and no reservations whatsoever.
We want it to be peaceful. We've tried all our best to make sure that our campaign has been violence-free, and that's why, you know, we are supporting this agreement today that no violence should ever occur in Lagos. And whoever has been doing that, or whatever party has been doing that, at least with this agreement now, it behoves on all of us that we must keep the peace and ensure that we all have a violence-free election.
Despite agreeing to the peace accord, political observers are of the opinion that all stakeholders must match their commitment with action in order to guarantee peaceful elections.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has accused the PDP governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Jimmy Agbaje, of tax evasion through his company JK Pharmacy. Fashola, who stated this at the 8th Lagos State Taxation Forum on Wednesday, says regular tax payment remains the only viable means of ensuring effective development in the country. Abiola Luwele's report is presented from our studio.
The gathering, according to Fashola, is meant to seek the support of both private individuals and corporate bodies in the drive by the state government to ensure prompt payment of taxes. Fashola will use the occasion to appreciate residents for paying their taxes promptly. Says developments recorded in the state are made possible through internally generated revenues.
And this is what we have built together. If you go to the Badagry Expressway, and you will see the progressive expansion of a 6-lane highway into a 10-lane highway, and you will see 4 rail stations already built. If you drive on the Eco Bridge and you see the pillars now showing that the rail is headed to Marina, you must feel proud that your taxes help to build that.
He, however, called on the residents to avoid voting for a tax evader as their next governor, claiming that JK Pharmacy, owned by Lagos PDP governorship candidate Jimi Agbaje, is set to pay the 2009, 2010 and 2011 land use charge to the state government.
JK Pharmacy has not paid land use charge for 2009, 2010, 2011 and 2012. They paid in 2013 and in 2014. I think as the election was coming close. They are owing our state 1,629,064 naira 62 kobo. Land use charge, ground rent, local government collects from it. Local government has responsibility for primary education. Yes, it is holding their taxes. Is this person a good citizen? This is the man who wants to be your next governor.
The event witnessed presentation of awards to individuals and corporate bodies for being tax compliant.
It's the CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a break and we'll return with more reports. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Many thanks for being there. And for more news and other information, you can visit us on our social media platform. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV with a space, then news. Following his endorsement by the Afenifere Group on Tuesday, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, President Goodluck Jonathan, breezed into Democracy Park in Akure, the Ondo State capital, on Wednesday to address party faithful as it continues its second-term campaign rally. He pleads for votes and calls for unity among members of the party in Ondo State to make the party's chances brighter at the coming polls. Rashid has more in this report.
The Democracy Park venue of the PDP presidential rally was filled to the brim with party faithful as the Jonathan campaign team berths in Akure. The PDP in the state, which just merged with the Labour Party, vows to support President Goodluck Jonathan.
I want to assure you that because of your good work, Ondo State people will vote for you.
The Afenifere endorsement of Jonathan, in the words of the party leadership, is a good sign and a signal that Jonathan will carry the day in the southwest. The division in the Ondo State PDP eventually played out on the campaign ground. The president, promising to bring more dividends of democracy, pleads for unity among party members to brighten the party's chances in the state.
To make sure that we create not less than, and I repeat, not less than 2 million jobs every year. The PDP family, what I will also use this platform to request is that, yes, we appreciate that we have issues in Ondo State. The party will work very hard to make sure that Jimo Abraham will sit down together and talk about the interests of Ondo State.
With endorsements of presidential candidates and mammoth crowd greeting their campaign rallies, it may be said that these candidates are having swell time. But in truth, the effectiveness and reality of gatherings like this will be the result of the February 14th presidential election. But before that day, Nigerians are to enjoy the campaigns of their presidential candidates while it lasts. Rashid, CoreTV News, Akure.
President Goodluck Jonathan has admitted the criticism by Governor Rotimi Amechi that his government has not done anything for the people of Rivers State. This, he said, was because he did not want to be seen as an ethnic leader, hence is resolved to ensure the equitable distribution of resources across the country. President Jonathan, who spoke during the presidential rally of the People's Democratic Party at the Adokiye Amesi Maka Stadium in Uguruta Ali, Ikwere local government of Rivers State, however, promised to develop the South-South region if elected for a second term in office. The president was reacting to the criticism by Amechi, who is also the Director General of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Organization, that he had not done anything for Rivers and Bayelsa State. Describing Amechi's statement as a challenge, Jonathan admitted that though he had not allocated more development to his people, the situation was an indication that he meant well for the country. He pointed out that he accepted Amechi's challenge but would do something for the South-South states when he is re-elected. Earlier, the PDP governorship candidate in the state, Chief Nyesom Wike, had expressed confidence that the party would win the February 2015 presidential and governorship elections. The federal government has described the position of former Central Bank Governor Charles Soludo as an intellectual harakiri. It also says his 5-year tenure as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria was a disaster for the banking sector. Minister of Finance Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said through a statement issued by a special advisor on communications, Paul Nwabuiku, that the article was filled with abusive language. The minister also accused Soludo of misquoting economic facts and turning statistics on their head to justify a hatchet job. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Plateau State, Joang Pwajuk, has promised the people that he will not repeat the mistakes of his predecessors, especially that of the incumbent governor, Junat Jang. Pwajuk, who made this known in a Pakshin when his campaign trail visited the area, called on the people to ignore prophets of doom who have predicted unfavorable outcome for the 2015 elections. Pwajuk, who is currently the senator representing Plateau North at the National Assembly, added that he and his colleagues in the administration have learnt a lot and are now willing to put to use the beauty of their experiences.
That 2015 will be a very dangerous year for Nigeria. But as you can see from our faces here, we come from diverse backgrounds. We are united in one purpose, that we want to conduct an election that will usher in a new era, a new Plateau state, a Plateau that is determined to bring brothers together regardless of any differences, and that will work for the progress of our land and will ensure that this country remains united rather than break down. Every father is for the children to grow up to be better than them. And today, we are praying that as we move into greater together, as we get ready in this 2015, we will be able to put up a government that will be greater and greater and greater. And that those who will come behind us will also do better than us. As we do better than our parents, they should also do better than us. And that is the idea behind a generational shift. And that is why we believe that while the old men dream dreams, the young men should see visions and walk in that direction.
Staff of the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital are determined more than ever to pursue their demands from the federal government. The staff have, however, turned to God for intervention as all efforts to ensure the federal government see reason have fallen on deaf ears. Rashid brings us more.
Members of the staff of the National Union of Health and Allied Professionals converged on the union secretariat for no other reason than their close to 3-month-old strike to deliberate on the non-response of the federal government to their numerous demands.
But everything bordered on welfare of staff, better working conditions. We are asking for restructuring of the health sector. For instance, some of our members have been on the same level for more than 6, 7, 8 years, some 15 years. The ministry is saying that people cannot reach grade level 15 as directors, which is contrary to the approved scheme of service for workers. So that's one of the reasons. Another thing, we are asking government to release a new circular concerning the retirement age of workers from 60 years to 65. We are asking for the release of adjusted salary structure and have been done for NME. The one was done last year after just a space of 10 days. Government has been on our own for almost 2 years now. They have not done it. And so this one is killing the spirit of collective bargaining. And some other numerous things I can read it to you, if you permit.
A visit to some of the departments in the teaching hospital shows empty wards as there was nobody to attend to, while the patients have equally been forcefully discharged. Carrying placards with various inscriptions, the union members called for the urgent resolution of the crisis, which they say is affecting and having serious toll on healthcare provision in the country. They promise to resume work as soon as the federal government accedes to their demand and wonder why it's taking so long after obtaining a court injunction on the matter.
Our nation executive have tried a lot. We have been calling this strike on and off for almost 12 times, simply because the federal government does not abide by the MOU. And the only thing that matters most is let them release the circular. The NIC court are giving us the judgment, and up to now, that circular has not been released. Our executive have been trying so many times. We go on strike, then before the expiration, they call off the strike. More than 12 times. More than 12 times. So the relativity of salary has to be released. They have done for the medical doctors, and don't see any reason why such a gesture cannot be given to the health sector too.
They also offer prayers to seek God's intervention over the industrial dispute. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Now outside Nigeria, Indonesia's search and rescue agency said on Wednesday that 92 victims are still missing after an Air Asia plane crashed, and they say they could have been swept away or be lost on the seabed after no more bodies were found in the jet's fuselage. Flight QZ8501 went down in the Java Sea on December 28th in stormy weather with 162 people on board during what was supposed to be a short trip from the Indonesian city of Surabaya to Singapore. So far, just 70 bodies have been recovered. Authorities had hoped that the majority of the passengers and crew would be in the plane's main section, but after several days searching the fuselage, they said no more bodies could be located. The military, which has provided the bulk of personnel and equipment for the operation, withdrew from the search on Tuesday due to the failure to find more victims and after several failed attempts to lift the damaged fuselage. The Civilian Search and Rescue Agency has said it will push on with the hunt for at least a week.
We have
with
2
3
days
aircraft,
free for giving the element of the operation to prepare for the next 7 days.
Aim remains
Bring the bodies, not the fuselage, not the tail, not the cockpit, but the body, the victim.
Never will not stop, so continue. So the information now clear, the misunderstandings now being clarified. We are happy with their action, but is it enough? We say no, it's not enough, because there is a lot of bodies still waiting to be evacuated.
And with that, it's a wrap on CoreTV News for this hour. Do join us again, top of the hour for more. Thank you for watching. I am Ebmulomo Adekunle.